Your fake prophet wasn't even following the madhab of Abu Hanifa. Because if he were, he wouldn't be making these false claims to prophethood. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. Today I have a very interesting episode for you guys, something that I don't think I can recall ever speaking about on my channel, which is the cult of Qadianism, or sometimes called the Ahmadis. And they're a cult that believe in a false prophet. With all due respect, we have to tell you that because the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wassalam, the Quran and Sunnah teach that he is the last and final messenger sent to all of mankind. However, this cultish group believe in a fake prophet that came from India just not too long ago. We're going to watch a brief interaction between one of their cult leaders and propagators of their cultish movement and see how utterly he's destroyed and crumbled with a very simple argument from a Sunni sheikh.
For the believers, then you said we follow Hanafi mazhab. Our Messiah said if Hanafi mazhab goes against the Quran, we do not accept it. We only say Hanafi as a term to say that put Quran in a hadith first. He himself explained what he meant by Hanafi mazhab. He said, because I believe Imam Abu Hanifa put Quran, a hadith over everything else, that's why we use these terms. Jazakallah khairan.
Okay. Allahu Akbar. ظهر الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا. Have you seen a prophet following a madhab? Have you seen a prophet following a madhab? Allahu Akbar. ظهر الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا. A prophet following the madhab of what? Of Abu Hanifa. Allahu Akbar. Finished. 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 I'm done. He's a false prophet.
Alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar. He finished himself. Anyway, again he goes, Mutawafika. It's on the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, after his second coming. But to be honest with you, I'm done with him. I was gonna prove to him that his prophet is a false prophet, but this is enough. You tell me, people, have you ever seen a prophet following something who is lower than him? Lower than him. He has to follow his madhab.
So as you guys can see there, what is the point that the sheikh is making? It's a very simple point, but I believe it's utterly destructive for and absolutely destroys the Qadiani cult, the so-called Ahmadi cult, who follow a fake prophet, a false prophet. These people are not Muslims. I'm sorry, whatever you've been told by other people, they're not Muslims at all. They've lied to you. They've lied to the people. They've lied to their own people in the Indo-Pak region, which is where it's most prominent because that's where the cult was established. Mirza Ghulam Ahmed Qadiani Sahib is a false prophet. And one example of how we know this is based on what the sheikh said. This guy, Razi, I think is his name, who's one of these propagators, defenders of their false prophet, admits that their prophet, their false prophet, was following a madhab. For those who don't know, madhab is a school of law or fiqh, jurisprudence in Islam. We have four main schools: Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali. And he admits that his false prophet, supposedly, in terms of jurisprudence or Islamic law, followed the Hanafi madhab. But wait a second. Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon him, was not at all a prophet and never claimed to be. So why would a prophet be following a scholar in terms of his religious rulings, in terms of his usul, his principles of fiqh, if he receives wahi, if he receives direct revelation, which they claim from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why would a prophet who receives revelation from God follow fiqh or jurisprudence and usul al-fiqh, the principles of jurisprudence, from a madhab, from the Hanafi madhab, and not only from Imam Abu Hanifa, but from his students and from their students? Why would he be following these traditions if he receives wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why would he need to follow the Hanafi fiqh? It makes absolutely no sense. When has a prophet followed a madhab while receiving wahi? It makes absolutely no sense. Why a prophet of God, sent by God, would be following the Hanafi madhab? And why would he be following the Hanafi madhab instead of the Maliki madhab? And this Qadiani cult leader says, oh, because what Mirza actually meant by that was merely the fact that he called himself a Hanafi because Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon him, simply followed Quran and Sunnah. And so when he says he's a Hanafi, all he means is he's following Quran and Sunnah. Well, Imam Abu Hanifa didn't believe in a possibility of a prophet after the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. He didn't believe that. So your fake prophet wasn't even following the madhab of Abu Hanifa. Because if he were, he wouldn't be making these false claims to prophethood. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. And how trivial is it to say, oh, I'm a Hanafi because I follow Quran and Sunnah? Well, by the same thing, then you could call yourself a Maliki, because Imam Malik claimed to follow Quran and Sunnah. Imam Shafi'i claimed to follow Quran and Sunnah. Imam Ahmed claimed to follow Quran and Sunnah. These are all Imams of Quran and Sunnah. So then by that extension, your fake prophet was a Hanafi, he was a Maliki, he was a Shafi'i, he was a Hanbali, all wrapped in one. How ridiculous is it and how trivial is it to say, oh, I'm Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali. I'm all of them, even though I'm a prophet of God who supposedly receives revelation because I follow Quran and Sunnah. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this one simple argument, this one simple point, which wasn't even the main thrust of the argument or discussion from the Sheikh, he said, look, we don't even have to go any further. Why should we quibble going back and forth about a fake prophet who's following a madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa? It absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. So any Qadiani, I hope, that watches this video, you will get doubts about your false religion and will realize that you've been duped. You've been lied to by maybe friends and family. I know it's hard for some people, but it's just quite shocking how people would be easily duped and fall for such falsehood. But it's inevitable. We understand this. We know that guidance is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we invite the Qadianis to Islam, and you can follow a madhab. No problem. You want to follow Imam Abu Hanifa's madhab? Fine. But don't believe in a false prophet. That's our problem with you. So with that being said, guys, I want to invite all of the Qadianis to Islam. You can follow the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa, even though I'm a Maliki, so I'm partial to the Maliki madhab. But you can follow Imam Abu Hanifa's madhab. But guess what? If you do, you can't be a Qadiani, because he didn't believe in the possibility of a prophet after the last and final prophet, Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. With that being said, guys, I hope this is enough, a small thing for you guys to consider, to recognize, for no one to be swayed by these Qadiani cult leaders and the propaganda that they're spewing, and realize that this is a completely false religion that has nothing to do with Islam and should be rejected. And we invite all of you to the one and only true Islam. With that being said, guys, until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all again then, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.